Hey there, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Samara Lynn here with Sascha Segan, and as usual, we have today's top trending tech news. We have one of your questions to answer, and we have one cool thing to show you. So let's get right started with the news of the day. So Sascha, apparently Google is now going to demote in search results any websites that don't use HTTPS by default.
Yeah, and this is something that at Google I/O they said they wanted to do. They wanted to go with what privacy advocates have been saying and have HTTPS everywhere on the web. So they said this is going to be a lightweight signal at first, which means that sites will only be slightly demoted. It'll be much less important than good content. But two equally important, equally high quality sites, one of which is secure and the other one of which isn't, the secure one will appear first.
Right.
I mean, you know a lot about security. How important do you think this is for people's personal data?
Well, of course, HTTPS is the SSL encryption that's applied to websites to give it that extra layer of security. And you know what? I say good for Google. If you're on a website, and especially one that's asking you to perform some sort of financial transaction, and they don't have HTTPS in this day and age, to me that's inexcusable. In fact, I think that ARIN and domain registrars and other bodies that control all of these domain sites and domain names really should refuse to re-register sites that engage in financial transactions and don't apply HTTPS. And screw the cost of an SSL certificate. Let these sites pay for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that webmasters were complaining about. There's a long Google Plus thread on this issue now. And I would say 90% of the comments from webmasters are enthusiastic. They're saying, yes, this is a great move. It rewards good actors on the web. And the 10% are whining, oh, Google wants to make us pay for SSL certificates. You know what? Pay to be good to your users.
Thank you. There you go. So our second news got kind of some of us excited here. Activision launched a teaser website for the historic game brand. Remember Sierra Online, some of you out there? And Gen Xers, at least here, went kind of crazy over the news.
Okay. You remember Sierra Online, frankly, if you are over the age of about 34 or 35, because Sierra Online was this pioneering company in graphical adventure games. They were one of the first companies to bring pictures to the interactive adventure game. And they were also founded by one of the great women in gaming, Roberta Williams, and especially with all the controversies about women in tech nowadays, remembering and knowing about the pioneering work she did is really important. So the King's Quest franchise, the Space Quest franchise, Leisure Suit Larry, Sierra Online was so important through the late 70s and the 80s. And then they kind of petered out and they were, bought, and then Activision said they would shut them down in 2008, and now they might be back.
Yeah, that's, like I said, a lot of us of a certain age got very excited, but even you younger viewers, if you're a gamer, you might want to check that out.
But I'm really hoping that if they bring back the Sierra brand, it isn't with the, generic first-person shooters that they kind of ended with. It's with that real sense of whimsy and creative, fun storytelling that really made their name.
Absolutely, definitely. We'll keep an eye out on that. Now, our third story is something that we refer to as Wi-Fi Kitteh. So apparently, this security researcher outfitted this cat with a special collar.
It's war catting.
Right. So this collar had all these components like a Wi-Fi card and a GPS locator and his custom firmware. And I believe the researcher's name was Gene Bransfield. He let this cat out. The cat roamed around the neighborhood, and this collar collected all of the vulnerable access points, routers, wireless networks in the neighborhood. And it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
right?
and it's a great idea because people do not, A, people do not suspect a cat. B, cats can get access to all sorts of spaces and places that a human, and especially a human in a giant vehicle, might not have access to. So you end up with this really interesting map of simultaneously Wi-Fi networks and places with vermin.
Yeah, and it was crazy because Coco, this cat, found about 23 networks in her neighborhood that could actually totally be hacked. So, I mean, that's getting me to like cats a little bit more. I'm a dog person. But anyway, so now we're going to go to our question of the day.
Yes, Raja Baron asks via our YouTube comments, I'm hooking up my house with cable internet. I want to set up a modem, router, and switch in the basement, but I want to have a wireless network on the second floor, and I want it to be as fast as possible. Ideally, I'll have gigabit Ethernet in the walls with IPv6. What cable modem, router, and switch should I use for this setup?
Okay, so to me that sounds like a pretty typical home network setup. So what I would suggest is going ahead with any one of the major consumer routers in the market, because you can always switch off Wi-Fi. TrendNet, Asus, and Netgear all support the gigabit you want, and they all do support IPv6. Asus is another one too.
Now, one of the interesting sub-questions I think in here is, does he need to shop around for a cable modem? Should he just take the cable modem that's whatever his cable provider provides by default, or can you do better?
You know, I think in this case, I would probably start just going with the default cable modem, as long as it has gigabit Ethernet ports. That's what you want to check with your provider. If it does, you can just connect that to a router, and then you can daisy chain a switch to the router. But again, you want to check to make sure your provider is giving you a device with gigabit Ethernet. Otherwise, it's going to slow down your whole network.
Okay, great.
So, there we go. And onto our one cool thing, and this is really pretty cool. So this is the Kodak Pixpro SL10 Smart Lens.
And now you're supposed to do like this, where you clip it onto a smartphone, but I really basically just want to do this all the time.
It's
like I am the Borg. I'm going to walk around. You got Google Glass? Okay, okay. You got Google Glass? I got this. I got 10x
It's a one-up.
zoom.
That's a one-up. Sascha, what is this crazy thing? What, just like claps onto a phone? What is it?
Yeah, okay, so we've seen this kind of thing from Sony before. These are basically cameras that use your smartphone for their image processing power. So it's a lens. It's a 10x zoom lens, very good image quality, and then it uses Wi-Fi direct to connect to your smartphone and download and store and process the images there. Oh. So it's for people who are not satisfied with their smartphone camera but don't want to carry a whole nother camera with them. Now, it's $229, so it's less expensive, but it's less expensive than a whole camera with this kind of lens.
That's true.
And but the problem is, as it says in our review, it's a little awkward to use, it's a little slow to lock focus, and as you can see, it's a little unwieldy when it's all connected. But it's an interesting concept, and we have a review of it up on our website right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anybody using that outside, but it's very interesting. So there you go. That's our cool thing of the day. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, and please join us again on Monday.